Hi, this is Simone, and I'm the Zen Mommy. I help people with spiritual awakening and navigating your ascension. Today, I want to thank all my subscribers for sticking with me so far. And if you're new to watching my video today, please subscribe and press the bell button below. And that will notify you when the next video is out. So today, I'm going to talk about positive focus versus shadow work. So reason why I want to talk about this subject is because one thing I've learned after my awakening a couple years ago is, the first thing you do is you awaken, and then you start to learn and question things, and you start to follow, read books, follow YouTubers, talk to other spiritual people, and you'll notice that within the spiritual community that different people have different ways of coping through their ascension, and different ways of dealing with things. And so with my experience after my awakening, I met a lot of different spiritual people, and the common thing that I learned, was I learned about shadow work, and I didn't learn about positive focus till later. Okay, so I want to get a little bit into this topic and what I think, how I think. So now for shadow work, I believe I have a video detailing the information on shadow work, and I'm gonna link it above, but I'll give you like a brief little overview right here, but it's probably better to watch the video in more detail. My son is right here making noise. Okay, Stormy, let mommy do video, okay? All right, thank you. And so okay, so shadow work is when you decide, okay, let's start over with Carl Jung. Okay, hold on. Come here, look. Do you see the people? Do you see the camera? Huh? Right? You see it?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to record.
Record it.
Yes. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay, say bye-bye. I'm going to be quiet now, okay?
Bye-bye.
Now go over that way and play.
Carl.
Okay?
Carl.
All right. So we're going to start with Carl Jung. Carl Jung had this, I guess, something like a philosophy about the way our consciousness is broken up. Our consciousness is the conscious mind, okay, the unconscious mind or subconscious mind, and the collective conscious or the super consciousness, right? So because our minds and are kind of in, our consciousness is kind of in three different places, right? So now when it comes to shadow work is when okay, let me use an example. When you're a little child, and I have here's a good one. I have had this friend that I went out with who had this name. They were Japanese, and the name represented happy. And in his family growing up, they didn't allow them to show their emotions. They said it was wrong, and they told him his name was happy. So the Japanese name was happy, that he had to always be happy no matter what. So as getting to know this friend, I started to see that they would, when they were unhappy with something I did or said, they would hold it in and not say anything about it. And so so I knew, I'm intuitive, I knew he wasn't unhappy, but I'm me, I'm a feelings person, I'm a communicator, I'm an empath. And so eventually what I noticed is the person was interested in me, and I didn't want to date them. I was still involved with someone else, and I was like, I'm not ready, I'm not over this person, whatever. So they had a real problem with that. And the other person, I don't even know if I should be talking about this. Anyways, they had a real problem with that. One time I hung out with the other person, and the next thing you know, this person showed up at the house of the other person, the happy one. And I was just like, why would you come here? Why would you show up there? And again, he wouldn't admit it that day. He was just like, oh, I was driving, I was making a turn. I'm like, no, you weren't. on my street, like making that turn. So eventually it manifested later. Okay, so this is the story. So basically, so when it comes to uh, the shadow side. So we're going to say the unconscious mind is the shadow, right? So when you have accepted something because maybe his parents told him, look, I've got to be happy all the time, right? So therefore, when somebody makes me unhappy, I have to deny that I'm not happy, and I have to let it. So when you deny something, it doesn't disappear. You see, energy doesn't disappear, it just transfers. And so with the subconscious or the unconscious mind, it's going to take that and it's going to keep it there and it's going to manifest it in another way. Okay, so a few months passed by, and there was one night I was on Skype talking to my friends, G-Man and Jeremy, and they have YouTube channels. And my friend came over, and he saw me talking with casual friends, and they were teaching me how to do a reading on Skype. And afterwards, he didn't say anything. I felt like empathically right now, I felt the irritation so strong. I thought I was the one that was irritated with him. As soon as he left, he blew up at me about me talking on Skype to a friend, and when he knew, I was just like, I think that's interesting that you're angry that I was chatting to a friend that I welcomed you to, I introduced you to, but a more situation that happened before. I know, but the dog's not gonna get you, okay? Okay, I'm doing a video. Come here. I'll hold you. All right. There's a dog right here. I'm sorry. And so I thought it was interesting that he blew up about something so small. So what happened there? So basically, when he denied being unhappy about something, the subconscious mind said, "Okay, we're gonna put that back in the shadow, right?" So the shadow now has expressed itself in a different way. Now I'm super angry about something that's not even worth being angry about. I know, I get that. And so, okay, hold on a second. Okay, I'm sorry about that interruption. I just realized I had a pause on this camera. I would have been using pause. Anyways, where was I at? Okay, so it manifested out because he held something in. He denied something about yourself. So what is going on with the shadow is anytime you deny something, you have to understand that we are both light and dark. We're both whatever they call good and bad. We have a dual, we have a duality within us. And the sooner you accept that and embrace those things, the shadow won't be taking in this thing and manifesting these problems in your life. And it happens with a lot of reasons. I believe in the video that I'm linking up here, it talks about how I talked about how I used to feel about women who were loose, and how I felt like the word they call sluts. I felt like, that's disgusting. See, a lot of times when a person is projecting that they don't like something and they're going off on something, they're really projecting something within them that's hidden. And so I expressed in that video how, I was a church girl all my life. We didn't believe in sex before marriage and all that stuff. So deep down, to me, I kind of was envious at the woman who was free with her sexuality and who didn't have any shame about it. So these are the things that we deny about ourselves. It goes into the shadow. It manifests. Okay. Now, positive focus. Now, the difference, the one thing before I go into positive focus, and the reason why I'm going into positive focus is I remember when I uncovered a deep childhood issue about a few months ago. I remember I went into a depression. After I brought it up, I went into the shadow. I faced the issue, okay? And then I was kind of like depressed for like a week or so. And it was bad. And so now with positive, so although I faced that issue, I uncovered some pain. It actually helped me heal and grow. It took some pain to go through to get to that point, right? So now positive focus is saying, okay, yes, these negative, terrible things happen to me, but now I'm going to shift everything to focusing on the positive. What you're going to essentially try to do is say, okay, this timeline where I was abandoned and abused no longer exists for me, right? So now you're saying, okay, and this, if you can truly say that this timeline no longer exists for me, not visit it, not think about it, not have a memory about it, then yeah, positive focus will work for you, right? But a lot of times you can keep saying that. You can say, okay, I'm just going to focus on the positive, focus on the positive. But there's some timelines you can't get away from. There's some things that are in the shadow that you've denied that aren't going to be. And as much as you think that positive focus can work, it is going to manifest in some other way. And so positive focus is great. You do want to continue to have positive focus, but I really feel like, and I was confused. Like once I started to hear about positive focus, oh, forget those timelines that happened. Those timelines will bring you to a low vibrational emotion. But let me tell you something. If you go back into those timelines and do your shadow work, and you go through whatever the depression or whatever it makes you feel like, you will heal that situation. Then it doesn't matter if somebody, a family, a relative comes along, something triggers you and reminds you of that. Like you can be focused, and somebody does something, reminds you, and you're right there. And then it might manifest in some type of negative way. Like the subconscious mind always makes sure it comes out. And I learned that recently. I was trying to do a lot of positive focus. I really was. And I realized some things. I realized that, you know what? I have a lot of issues that I went through in this life here. And I also realized that as an energy being, as whatever reason that we have incarnated down here, I truly believe that part of my experience is to know myself, is to feel my emotions, is to understand the situation at hand, what I had to go through to get here, what I have to do to ascend. And I truly believe that in the long run, shadow work is your best bet as far as healing those things. But now if you think that you don't have too difficult of a timeline, if you really think you can forget it and just let it go, then by all means choose positive focus. But I wanted to talk about the two because those two came up for me. And in the end, I was trying to do the positive focus, but in the end, I realized I had some much deeper issues to deal with. And see, when it comes to evolving your consciousness in this earthly being, evolving it does mean facing the hard things. Evolving means learning yourself. Evolving means understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and loving yourself throughout this creation. So thank you for watching. Peace and love. Namaste.